Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're doing something a little different, a unique mission, you could say.
Yeah.
We've got a stack of source material here, but it's all from an English A1 learner podcast, absolute beginner level. It's called Fun Life Stories.
And it might sound like we're about to, have a language lesson.
Right.
But we're skipping the grammar.
Yeah.
Our goal today is analytical. We're treating this really basic material as a masterclass in, I guess, narrative efficiency.
Okay, so what does that mean exactly?
It means we're asking what core human insights are so powerful that they work even when stripped down to the simplest possible words. We're looking for the blueprints of stories that just stick.
I like that. So let's unpack it. The sources are short stories from two hosts, Anna and Mr. B, and they're all grouped by theme. We've got happy, funny, helping, travel, and challenges. So our mission for this deep dive is to see how these, I guess, low-stakes scenarios can deliver such a high-impact emotional punch, the effectiveness of simplicity.
We're basically reverse engineering compelling content. I mean, if a story can move an absolute beginner, its emotional core has to be universal.
Okay, let's jump in. Section 1, the power of small acts of kindness and happiness. And what struck me right away about these happy stories is that the big moments, they weren't big at all.
No, not at all. They completely shatter that idea that happiness needs to be complex or expensive. It's like emotional minimalism.
Anna's story is a perfect example, her happiest moment. Waking up, finding a note from her brother in the kitchen. And it just said, good morning, Anna. I made breakfast for you. Enjoy.
So simple.
The breakfast itself was just toast, eggs, and tea. But the feeling she describes, she felt very loved.
And see, that note is the emotional anchor. The story isn't about the toast. It's about the break in the routine. Her brother probably doesn't do that every day.
Right.
So that little bit of effort, plus the physical evidence of a handwritten note, it just turns a normal morning into this affirmation of belonging.
It's fascinating because the language, very loved, is so basic, but it perfectly sums up this huge, complex emotion.
Exactly. It's a simple label for a feeling a novelist might spend 3 chapters on. And we get it instantly because we've all been there.
Mr. B's story is similar, but it has this layer of humor to it.
Okay.
His students shouted, "Surprise!" after a long class, gave him a small cake that said, "Thank you, Mr. B."
That's sweet.
But the detail that makes it so memorable is the drawing they put on it. It was a sketch of him with a big head and very small legs.
And that's the detail, isn't it? That drawing is everything. Because if it was just a professional cake, it would be respectful, but kind of forgettable. By adding that affectionate, funny little flaw, they're saying they don't just respect him as a teacher, they see him as a person.
And they like his personality.
Exactly. That specific detail just elevates the whole story.
And we see the same idea, this low-cost, high-impact thing, carry over into the helping stories. We go from receiving kindness to creating it.
Right, so we're moving into narratives about moral alignment, where someone steps in to fix a small injustice or struggle.
Anna's story is about helping an old woman who was carrying many heavy bags near a bus stop. She just offered to help, carried them for a bit, and they had a warm chat about the woman's grandchildren.
See, and that conversation, no matter how brief, makes it a connection. It's not just a transaction.
And the reward for Anna isn't material. It's what the woman says as she leaves. She says, "You made my day better."
And that line is the payoff. That's what validates the whole story for the listener.
Now, Mr. B's story, it involved a bit more, maybe, social risk. He's in a cafe. He sees a man who's forgotten his wallet and can't pay for a sandwich and a drink.
Oh, that awkward moment.
Totally. And Mr. B just steps in and pays. He makes a point to say it was not expensive.
That's more complex than carrying bags, though. He had to step into a stranger's, small moment of crisis and social embarrassment.
Yeah.
That takes a certain confidence. And the speed of the intervention is what makes it powerful. It turns the man's panic straight into relief.
So if we synthesize this first section, what these stories are proving is that human connection, it's all driven by effort, by specificity, like the big head drawing, and by that emotional validation.
Absolutely. The universal insight here is that one small, specific detail, a note or a funny drawing, can carry an immense amount of emotional weight.
Okay, let's pivot to section 2, the universality of embarrassment, mistakes, and growth. This is where we see how tiny failures make for great stories.
Oh, yeah, these are the stories we tell at parties, right? Stories about failure are just more engaging than stories about success because they're relatable. They lower the barrier between you and the listener.
I loved Mr. B's supermarket story. He's looking for the milk shelf, walking around and around, just completely lost.
In a supermarket.
Yeah. Finally, he asks a worker who just looks at him and says, "Behind you." And the shelf was, quote, "very big, very close, right behind my back."
It's that classic moment of cognitive blindness. We've all done it. You're looking for your glasses and they're on your head.
Totally.
It taps into that universal feeling of low-stakes humiliation. And the worker's two-word reply, "behind you," that's the punchline. It's perfect.
Anna's story is about public failure. She was in a school play. She had only one line.
Yeah.
That was it.
Okay, I think I see where this is going.
When her moment came, she just froze, stood there in silence. And eventually she improvised and just said, hello.
And that's where a simple narrative is so powerful. That moment of pure terror turns into shared humor. The source says everyone laughed, even the teacher.
Right.
So the lesson isn't just she forgot her line, it's that her recovery, as awkward as it was, made the moment endearing. Failure plus recovery equals a great story.
That shift from embarrassment to humor is a perfect lead-in to the challenge narratives, which often start with that same feeling of inadequacy.
Right, we're shifting from these little temporary failures to, sustained efforts.
Yeah.
Overcoming bigger barriers.
Anna's challenge was starting university. She felt confused and shy. New people, new teachers, new rules, even the building was overwhelming. It's a very general struggle.
And general struggles can be hard to make into a good story. So the key is how simple her solution was. She told herself, just try, and started talking to people step by step.
Yeah.
The story is really about the process of dismantling shyness through these small, repeated actions. And the result is she feels stronger and more confident.
Mr. B's challenge, learning to cook, is way more visceral. Everything tasted strange, too salty, too sweet, too burnt.
I can relate to that.
But the detail that anchors the whole story is his lowest point. Yeah. He burned fried rice so badly that the smoke alarm said, "Please stop."
I love that. I love that detail. It's a perfect bit of anthropomorphism. The alarm isn't just making a noise, it's talking to him, it's scolding him.
It makes the failure funny.
It totally does. It externalizes his failure, and it makes the whole sensory experience, the thick smoke, the noise, feel real and, funny. His path to success was also just step by step, watching videos and practicing.
So the insight here is twofold. First, challenges are overcome with persistence. But second, for a story to work, you need specific, sometimes ridiculous details, like a talking smoke alarm.
Exactly.
All right, section 3, adventure and the unexpected visual detail. Looking at how even the simplest travel stories create a sense of discovery.
Travel stories are always about contrast. Leaving your comfort zone for some kind of reward.
Anna's mountain trip is that classic effort-reward story. She wakes up at 4 in the morning, walks up a mountain in the dark and the cold, but then she's rewarded. The sky turns orange, the air is fresh, the view is peaceful, and she's drinking hot tea.
It captures that universal, almost meditative moment. The difficult physical effort transforms into pure sensory pleasure. The orange sky, the warm tea, it's a very efficient emotional loop.
Mr. B's story is the opposite. It's chaos, then rescue. He's in a new city, trying to find a famous food market. Takes 3 wrong turns, walks in circles for 1 hour.
He's completely lost.
Yeah, and that chaos is necessary for the adventure.
Yeah.
He only gets rescued when an old man notices him, laughs, and points him to the right street.
And you almost always need that character in these simple travel stories. The figure of local wisdom, the resident who corrects the visitor's mistake. The story stops being about the market and starts being about the kindness of a stranger.
This is where it gets really interesting, because the last few funny stories are just pure proof of how sensory details create these memory hooks.
These are masterclasses in narrative economy. They're not deep stories. They're just efficient visual metaphors.
Okay, so Anna gets new shoes, and they make a squeak, squeak, squeak sound every time she walks. She says she felt like a walking rubber duck.
That's so good. That combination of sound and image is just incredibly efficient. You immediately hear the noise, and you can picture her walking awkwardly.
It's a perfect storytelling. And then Mr. B's final story. He's trying to take a serious photo to look strong and cool.
Oh.
But the wind blows his hair straight up, and it looks like a pineapple. His friends laughed for 10 minutes.
The pineapple hair, that's the nugget.
That's it.
It's a specific, instantly recognizable, hilarious image. You don't just remember he had bad hair. You remember the pineapple.
So the power of these sources is really their ability to use super simple language to paint these incredibly vivid pictures. The rubber duck squeak and the pineapple hair. That's the whole experience right there.
And if we connect this all back, these A1 level stories show that the basics of human narrative, joy, struggle, embarrassment, discovery, they all rely on specific small details, not complex language or philosophy.
It's the structure. Set up, a small conflict, a resolution, and a memorable sensory takeaway.
And when the original creators wrapped up their podcast, their vocabulary list basically serves as a list of the essential human concepts that anchor all good storytelling.
Yeah, they defined the emotional spectrum that drove everything.
Yeah.
You had happy, funny, help, and challenge.
The core emotions.
And then the concepts that created the story arcs.
Yeah.
Sunrise, lost, surprise, embarrassing, and adventure.
Right. And the profound so what for you, the listener, is right there. The creators said that stories help you feel the language, not only study it.
Yeah.
And that translates directly into knowledge transfer. When you're sharing complex information, if you can anchor a difficult idea to one of these core human experiences, a moment of kindness, a funny failure, a sticky visual like a pineapple hair, that knowledge just bypasses the rational brain and sticks right in the emotional memory.
It's the shortcut to being not just well-informed, but well-remembered. This whole deep dive has really shown that the most basic stories hold the most universal truths. Thanks for joining us as we extracted the profound from the simple.
And as you think about this, here's a final thought to consider. If these basic, almost childlike stories can so effectively convey truths about kindness, struggle, and discovery, how might simplifying your own complex stories, stripping them down to their core emotional and visual parts, make them infinitely more memorable and impactful for your audience? It's often the pineapple hair that matters most.